Harry Potter meets Hunger Games meets How to Train Your Dragon. There's deaths in the family. Why wouldn't there be in a fantasy book? Ah, jeez. Nobody ever lives in fantasy. It is getting very dark in here and it's only 4:15, which is insane. But I have read 28 pages. I'm on chapter 3 and I'm not sure I have many thoughts yet. It's a lot of backstory, but I do like that the author gave us the backstory in a way that wasn't like info dumping, because even though there's a lot of backstory in even just chapter 1, she did it in a way that the characters presented it to us rather than just narrative, you know, paragraphs upon paragraphs of backstory. So I do like that. I kind of see why people are liking this, because unlike most like high fantasy suspense stories, it's not young adult. The main character is 20 years old. I mean, I guess you can sort of consider that new adult, but honestly it's adult. So I do like that it's an adult story, because you don't get that very much in things like this where there's like a competition and training and stuff like that. So it's very reminiscent of How to Train Your Dragon, but in like a more intense way, if that makes any sense. It's very cutthroat. I mean, I've only read 2 chapters and I can already say it's very cutthroat. There's already been like 3 deaths, which is crazy. I already know who I don't like. I already know who I do like. Obviously, my views could change on that matter as I continue to read, but there are some characters that I obviously do not like so far. I also really love, and I always love when books do this, but I also really love the fact that the main character is considered frail, because those are always the people that can surprise the hell out of you, and I just can't wait to see what she does. So basically, she was supposed to be a scribe, and her mother decided she was going to be a writer instead. So she's being forced into this role. So basically her only option is to survive. I mean, in chapter 2, she had to cross this like parapet thing where if she didn't make it, she basically dies. And it was really, really interesting. And I was holding my breath basically the whole time because it was really suspenseful and interesting to see her overcome every obstacle that was thrown at her during this crossing of the bridge thing. So I really do like the main character, and I can feel a connection with her because while I am not a frail person, I'm a heavy set person and stuff, I am not very strong, and also pretty much all the time I was growing up, I was never considered strong in any variation of the word. I was always the quiet person. People always looked at me and thought I wouldn't amount to much because I just didn't fit the image, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I can really relate to the main character, which is great because if I can't relate to the main character in a book, chances are I'm going to DNF it. And I really do not like DNFing books, but I also don't like reading books and forcing myself to finish them because that's never enjoyable. So it's okay to DNF a book, but I really do not like doing it. So I try not to do it as much as possible. So yeah, those are my thoughts so far. I'm really enjoying it. There's been a couple of moments that made me smile, couple of moments that really pissed me off, but that's gonna happen in a fantasy book because it's almost 500 pages worth of stuff. So but for right now I need to stop because it is officially 4:30 and my mom will be home any minute. I will come back to this lovely book, Fourth Wing, when it is my reading time for the night at 8 o'clock. I think it'll be a good book to read tonight in my room, like I usually read at night, because I'm gonna have all my Halloween decorations on and surrounding me. So I think that'll be really cool aesthetic and atmosphere to read this too. So yeah, so that is my thoughts so far, and I will see you guys later tonight when we continue to read. I am about to leave for work, but I wanted to give you guys a little update on my reading of Fourth Wing. I am on page 207, and the best way I can describe this book is Harry Potter meets Hunger Games meets How to Train Your Dragon, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but there's a lot to unpack in this book. It's insane. And I'm also kind of worried about how I'm not even halfway through and a lot of stuff has already been resolved. So I'm not sure what's going to happen in the second half of the book, but I hope it lives up to the first half of the book because it was really good. It is mostly about the dragons and the writer's connection to the dragon, but there is also some rivalries, some like sort of enemies to lovers kind of thing, close proximity, which is nice. I always love close proximity stuff. The writing is fantastic. She's a very good author, I will say that. And it's one of those, once you start reading, you really don't want to stop kind of books, because I've had several moments over the last little while that I've been reading this where I have really exhausted myself by continuing reading when I really should have stopped. So it is definitely a draw you in kind of book, and I can see why everybody's obsessed with it. I'm not quite fangirling over it just yet. I don't know if I'll get to that point. I do really love the villain. He's not really the villain. He's an enigma, wrapped in a puzzle, wrapped in muscles, wrapped in I don't know what, but he's very broody. We'll say that too. He's very broody, and I don't know. I don't even know how to explain this guy. Like, one second you hate him, and the next second you're like, oh, he's so sweet, or oh, he saved her. It's very, very, very hard to describe, but I love him. Since I'm not even halfway, I'm not really even into the meat of the story, honestly. We really just have gotten the lead up, I guess, to the main plot, I would say, probably, of the book. But even that stuff is great. I mean, this lead up so far, I'd say, is the Hunger Games portion. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be smattered throughout the rest of the story too, but it definitely reminded me of Hunger Games a lot, because there's a competition, there's some cutthroat betrayal and rivalry, and so it definitely was the Hunger Games portion of the book, I think. And now we're getting into like the Harry Potter portion with classes and teachings and, you know, magical bits. So now we're getting into the Harry Potter part, which I think is going to be fantastic, because I am a Harry Potter freak. I love Harry Potter, so I think that's going to be great. I think there's a little bit Lord of the Rings in here too, but I wouldn't say it's one of the top inspirational stories in this book, but I do see some little bits that I think are connected to Lord of the Rings, like that it's actually from Lord of the Rings, but just like, it's very hard to explain, but it gives me Lord of the Rings vibe. It's a very big amalgamation of a lot of fandoms, and I think that's one of the reasons people are loving it so much, because you're getting all of that great stuff from all of those fandoms, everything that's hanging on my wall over here, and putting it into one book. So I think that's why some people are really freaking out about it. I do really like it. I do want to continue. I do not think it's going to be a DNF in any way. Whether it's going to be a 5-star book or not remains to be seen. So we will check that out at the end, because my idea of a rating kind of changes as I've been reading. So I'm not sure what my final rating will be just yet, but we are close to the halfway point. It's like 500 pages and I'm on 200. So, you know, like 50 more pages, we will be at the halfway point. So that'll probably happen tonight after I get home from work, and we'll see how we feel about the halfway point, and I will let you guys know. Those are my general thoughts about Fourth Wing at the moment, and I cannot wait to read more, but unfortunately I'm gonna have to, because I have to head to work now. So let me know down in the comments how you felt about the first part of this book. If you read it, don't give any spoilers if you can help it. But just let me know that your general consensus, if you agree with what I'm saying, or if you disagree, or if there's something else you think about it, let me know down below in the comments. Okay, was not expecting that ending. I have thoughts, and I'll tell you in a minute. All right, it is time to finally review this book. I don't even know where to start. It was really good. I definitely enjoyed it. I'm still not obsessed with it like other people are. It's a solid 4-star. It's not a 5-star read for me, just because it was really slow in the middle, and also, I don't know, it just didn't seem unique enough, I guess. Maybe I don't know exactly why it's not a 5-star for me, but it just did not give me that 5-star feel. So it's definitely a solid 4-star. My favorite characters are definitely the main characters, Violet and Xaden. Least favorite, It doesn't really matter because they end up dying anyway, so I'm not going to mention that because I don't want to spoil it for you guys. The most shocking moment, I think, probably was the end. Two things happened in the end. There was a death of a character that made me cry, which you guys saw, and there was a shocking twist at the end that I did not see coming in the slightest. It's also a cliffhanger, which not my favorite. You know, I don't mind continuing series, but I always want some kind of conclusion, and this one had a little bit of a conclusion, but it was still a cliffhanger, and so it's not my favorite that there's a cliffhanger. Another reason it's not a 5-star, I would say. But it's very good writing. It was a very good story. I loved reading the main character, Violet, from start to finish, because she started, you know, like, weak, and she was kind of the underdog, basically, and then by the end of the book she was like the badass, you know, she overcomes every obstacle that everybody thought she was not going to be able to overcome, and she, you know, wields some awesome magic, and it's definitely an underdog to victory story, I guess. And it's definitely enemies to lovers as well when it comes to the romance part. So those are two really good reasons why I enjoyed it. Some things I didn't like. There's a lot of death. Not necessarily the bad people, but there's a lot of good people that die as well. And it just like Hunger Games, that really bothers me, that these people are dying for the sake of their, like, government and the way things are run in their place. Don't love that concept of just, I mean, it was hundreds of people dying in this book because of what they have to, you know, the challenges they have to go through and everything. And not everybody survives those challenges, and plus then there's battles and all this other stuff. So I'm not really, didn't really love the death concept in here because it was like really prevalent. It was like every chapter somebody was dying. Also, I do not feel it needed to be 500 pages long. I felt like that was a bit excessive. There was a lot of stuff in here I would have cut out if it was me, or if I was the editor of this book. I'm not going to mention what because I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but there was definitely a lot of slow points, especially in the middle of the book. If you remember when I finished the first half of the book, I said I'm worried about what's going to happen in the second half because so much happened in the first half, and it was a valid worry. It wasn't the whole second half of the book. Obviously, when we got towards the end, it was definitely better, but there was a part in the middle that was really slow and difficult to get through. So those are the things that I didn't like, but in all honesty, it's a very solid 4-star, and I probably will read the sequel, mostly because it's a cliffhanger and I need to know what happens. But also, this Rebecca Yarros is definitely a good writer. And I'm invested in the characters now. Good news is I've heard that they are going to turn this into either a movie or a TV show. I can't remember which. Honestly, it would be better as a TV show. Am I going to watch that? I don't know, but it might be a moot point because it's being made through Amazon, I believe, and I do not have Amazon Prime Video, so I may not be able to watch it anyway. But if I do, I'll definitely let you guys know. So I honestly, this was a good book. It was a good read. I'm glad you guys talked me into reading it, and I'm glad you wanted a reading vlog done for it because I did enjoy it, and I did enjoy recording some of my reactions to things. Read it if you're into fantasy, for sure. If you're into dragons at all. The other thing I don't like about it, though, is the portrayal of dragons. There's not much more I can say about it without giving much away, but the ending definitely shocked the shit out of me. Did not see that coming in the slightest. I had an inkling that something was gonna happen like that, and without giving too much away, I'm just gonna tell you it's somebody that we think is long gone comes back in the end, and I had an inkling that was gonna happen, but not the person that it ended up being. I was totally shocked by that. Fourth Wing, it's done. All 500 pages read. That's insane. I don't usually read 500 page long books, but it was good. It was good. So that's the end of that. It was a journey, that's for sure. And it was a journey I enjoyed taking, especially for you all who requested it. So thanks for requesting this reading vlog. If there's other reading vlogs you guys want to see, other book reviews you want me to do let me know that down in the comments because I will definitely do them. And you know, there's so many books out there that you can't know them all. So if there's a book that you just absolutely loved or you've been wanting to read that maybe I have no idea is even out there, definitely let me know that down below and I'll take a look at it. especially because in the next video, you're going to see some more book stuff, and it's going to involve discovering new books. So definitely let me know, even if you don't want like a book review or a reading vlog of the book, just let me know some of your favorite books down below, because I need all the recommendations I can get, especially if they're Christmas themed, because it will be a huge help for the next video. And I'll see you guys then. If you enjoyed this video, remember, give it a huge thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you have not subscribed. Hit that notification bell so you know when I post new videos. I post 3 times a week on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and sometimes there's a bonus video. There may be some bonus videos coming up in December, but I have not decided yet. If there is, those would be on Sunday probably. That's it for this vlog that I've been recording for I don't know how long. 500 pages. 500 pages long. That's how long I've been recording this video. My hair is shorter. I have nails now. That's how long I've been recording this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.